Hello and welcome to our podcast, Cozy Conversations with the Sister Project. I'm Lauren. And I'm Michelle. And we're so excited you stopped by for a visit. Come on in. Yeah, make yourself at home. We're two Midwestern sisters who love a good old-fashioned conversation and enjoy sharing our life experiences with one another and you. Consider this your one-stop shop for cozy, mindful well-being, along with some entertainment and lots of wheezy laughing. Oh, you bet there'll be a lot of that going around. Our goal is to live our coziest life and inspire you to do the same because the truth is, we think it's good for your mind and your body. Thank you so much for tuning in. Now, let's get cozy. Y'all, welcome to Cozy Conversations with the Sister Project. I am your host, Lauren. This is Michelle. She is coming at you barely alive from her bedroom.
Making it through.
Oh, God, God bless. Listen up, you guys. If you've not bought your Zanies tickets yet, I highly recommend you do. It's going to be a packed house. We have made our first goal. Yay, the Sister Project. We've sold at least just a touch over 100 tickets.
Yep.
That was our first goal. The next goal is to sell out. So we need 100 more.
Let's go, guys.
It's on April 12th. So it's next weekend at 4 p.m. Rosemont and Zanies. Get your tickets. Be there, be square. It's going to be so fun. It's a live podcast recording. It's literally what you press play to, only you're going to be sitting with us in person.
I mean, Lauren, but it is going to be amped up a little bit. Let's be honest.
Of course. We've got giveaways. It's going to be a freaking blast.
Yep.
So be sure to get your tickets and join us. Also, you guys, this is a great podcast. We are talking all about caring less so that you can have more enjoyment in your life. So if you're like, oh, I can't do Zanies, and listen, I'm not giving it, listen, just hear me out. If you're like, oh, I can't do Zanies, I got so much going on. I gotta do this and do that. And I don't want to really do it, but I really want to go to Zanies though. Then go to fucking Zanies.
Go to Zanies.
Care a little less about the shit that you don't want to do.
Yep.
And then care more about the things you want to do, and you're going to have fun. Okay. Just put that formula in any aspect of your life, because we've got a whole list of ways that you can care less and how you will benefit from doing so. All right, you guys, thank you to Michelle for staying alive during this week's podcast episode. Go take a rest. Y'all stay healthy out there. And as always, stay cozy. All right. Well, we're kind of out of our regularly scheduled program because while this podcast is out for all of you whiffs out there to listen to, I'll be in Florida for a couple days visiting my dad and whatnot and soaking in the sun. But we had to record this podcast before I left, and Michelle's the flu. So,
yep. Pigdemic 2025.
What are you calling it?
The Pigdemic.
Because of all the pigs,
yeah,
the pig. You mean your band?
Down. Yeah, Mel was the host. And
Mel is the host.
Checking in at the urgent care.
Is everyone sick?
Yeah, Joel's sick. Dave's feeling unwell. Yeah.
And so your bandmates are all
definitely
going down.
That side is struggling, but Mel transposed it to me too.
Thanks, Mel. I have something too. I've got some achy
joints.
I got my mouth hurts. I don't know if anyone is understanding that symptom. Like the roof of my mouth feels like a little like tense, and my throat hurts. I'm a mucusy, and my joints in my back. I have aches in my back. So I probably have what you have, just not as bad.
I don't have the mucusy stuff. But I do feel like somebody took a sledgehammer to every single joint in my body.
God, it sounds like misery. You're Kathy Bates. Well, you're the guy.
Last night I would flex my body in pain and cry and yell out, "Mom!" True story.
Well, to make matters better, we get to record a cozy conversation. And later in our podcast, we're going to talk about how important your social health is. So even though your physical health is plummeting, you are engaging in an act of self-care at this very moment that will hopefully elongate your life and bring you happiness.
I think that you and I are going to double time out longevity wise based on all the cozy combos.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Medicine. Speaking of medicine, do you take things for the flu?
Yes.
What are you taking?
Advil, Tylenol on a rotation. And I'm going to go explore the CBD situation downstairs.
Oh,
and
for
see
the
if there's
aches.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
I just shoot my turmeric ginger concoction, and maybe we'll take a little pain relief, but I'm
Yeah.
just kind of going along with it.
I just can't deal with the pain, though.
Yeah,
That's
the
the
pain
thing. The
hurts.
ginger's not doing shit for the pain. You know what I'm saying?
It's doing something for something else. All I know, it's doing something for something else.
It is, but it ain't doing shit for the pain.
Well, let's talk about something else. I've got an idea.
What?
We're going to be moving into this conversation today with you guys, where we're talking about the benefits of caring less. And I have had to actively, no worries, practice caring less in 2025, because there's a lot of like political
Because the things you care more about will kill you.
What's that?
If you just think about the caring more part of all of the things, it might just put you 12 feet under or 6 feet.
I don't want to deal.
It's too much.
I don't want to do that.
Too much to care about, so just don't.
I picked up this book at the library. I took Luna to the library today, and I found this really cool parenting book called The Parent's Tao Te Ching. And it is ancient advice for the modern parent.
That's cool.
And the first thing, it is very cool. The first thing I opened up and I read was, I won't be able to find it again, but it said something like, in order to be a good parent, the first thing you have to do is know you're going to die. And once you come to terms with the fact that you're going to die, you can live in the present and be happy for the rest of your life. Oh my God,
that's like the greatest secret nugget of wisdom anyone could ever have said.
And when I saw that, I was like, you're coming home with me.
Oh my God, did you buy that? Stolen.
I'm going to steal it.
Consider it stolen. Sorry.
Thank you, Chicago Public Library System, for changing, again, the mindset. It's all about the mindset.
Freaking mindset, man.
So right here, it's like, I'm going to care less about shit that I can't control, or care less about things that aren't happening. Worrying. Because the other thing I sent Michelle the other day was a little Buddhist like quote that was said, worrying is like worshiping the problem.
It is.
It is.
No truer words have ever been spoken.
It's literally like getting in your hands and knees and bowing down and worshiping your biggest fear and be like, I'm going to feed you all of my energy. And then you're going to take everything from me and I'm going to live in worry. And then you're just worshiping it. It's wild.
And I've been there before. I've spent a minute or a day or a week or months.
Or years or months.
Maybe years worshiping
a problem.
Fucking worries.
Yeah.
El Stupido.
So, Michelle and I have been practicing for however long that we can have been. And this is something that even goes back and is rooted into some of my, my work in therapy as well, is becoming comfortable with uncertainties. And in there, I find care less about things that you have no answers to.
I mean, what's the point of caring at this point?
What's the point?
What's the point?
I mean, care enough in a healthy way, but care less about in a way that makes you sick, unproductive, incapable of maintaining healthy relationships with yourself and others. So in this, I want to just preface this with, as you guys have, if you know me well enough, you know that I spend a lot of time and energy and care on the political aspect of our country. And I have taken almost like a little bit of like a back seat. Not that I'm not caring.
Yep. Let's hear it.
I'm taking in the information I want. I'm acknowledging the chaotic situation that we are living in, but I'm not letting it feed my sense of everyday. I'm going to call it art. Every day, I like to share things on my personal Instagram handle at the Midsis. And this is a handle where I share some me and my little family, my travels, and I share in my stories inspiration, things from other creators out there that I either find funny or inspiring, whatever. And for a good 2 months there, January and February was a lot of political shares. And it's good stuff. It's important stuff. And I will continue to do this, especially on matters that I find important. But I also don't want to give them my energy. I don't want to give that energy there, because that is a place where I love to share fashion, things that really light me up. And unless it's funny political stuff, like President Trump's newest, I don't know if you saw his portrait that he was very upset about.
Was he very portly in this one?
I thought he looked great. I'm going to be honest. I think he should have he said that the artist has gotten worse as they have aged.
How ungrateful.
Like, how can you not laugh? Like, this is the shit I can laugh about now.
Which is good.
Homeboy is on his Truth Social berating an artist and the government of Colorado for putting up a portrait.
Wait, I need to see this. Hang on a second.
I think this is a guy who needs to care a little less.
Oh, right. Here it is. I got it.
Did you get it?
I did. Okay.
What did you think? Let's be honest.
I mean, I just think it's kind of accurate to be.
His jowls match with the jowls of his real life. I think he's mostly upset because I think he's probably really obsessed with the photo that he has in the White House with that really vibrant lighting, which is this photo right here. You know, the one where it looks like a WWF commissioner. I think that he is, he loves that photo because he looks like he's a bad, rad
real
dude.
Bad boy.
And the other one, he looks more like an everyday American.
Listen, but I will, to his point, if there's a picture or something of me out there that for some reason I don't like it, now I'm not going to go attack Alina for taking pictures of me. It's my goddamn face. You know what I'm saying? But boy, You're
not going to say that she's gotten worse as she's aged. The fuck? But talk about something that someone could care a little less about. The President of the United States of America.
In the grand scheme.
Focusing on
that.
This portly portrait of a normal skin-toned man. Meanwhile, his people over yonder are releasing like insider information to the Atlantic. I mean, it's complete bananas out there, and this is what we're worried about.
And so if I
have a message for the President of the United States of America, my message to President Trump is, you know what, sir? Care a little less about your looks and care a little more about what the fuck is happening.
Well said.
I think that's fair.
And you want to know what? I think both sides of the aisle are going to agree with you on this one.
I mean, let's be honest, right? You guys, am I right?
How can you disagree with that?
Who's going to argue, man?
In the grand scheme of things, in the whole array of things we could be focusing on, care a little less about that.
Just a tidbit. But listen,
#truth.
I can be vain myself. I have had moments where I'm like, oh God, that photo is just diabolical.
Been there.
But you know what?
Or if somebody does you dirty.
If someone did me dirty and he thinks that someone did him dirty, I think it's just, you know what it is? It's not a caricature of him. So it's like he can't like sit with it.
It's the mirror. If
he took off all the clown makeup, I think this is what he would look like. Like, I think that's a decent painted portrait. But what I have found that like, here I am joking about this. I think like 3 months ago, my attitude towards him spending time focusing on his portrait would make me mad. I'd be like, fuck angry. You. Mm-hmm. This is, what about her? You guys said Hillary's emails, your guy over in the FBI is releasing top confidential information. I would have gotten so bent out of shape that I've moved on. I still have that anger and rage. It's there. It's the fight for what's right, but it's not consuming my every fucking day.
Well, and I think that you share in this experience, this second go around with a lot of people. I've talked to a lot of people who have said that this time around they are choosing not to give that energy like the last time.
I've noticed, I've seen people sharing that message as well. And I think I organically shifted into that space because it's kind of a pain in the ass.
Well, and because like, look though, by caring less about that, it does more for you. It gives more for you. It allows more space for you to do what you want that, like you said, lights you up and makes you feel good.
Yeah. And gives me space to laugh. Like I love laughing about that. I'm sorry. I can't stop. I'm so pleased with the art and I'm so pleased with his disdain for it. I think it's it's literally like a sitcom. It's not real life, but it is. And you know what? Here we are.
Christmas present ideas?
For who?
Family members?
Oh my God. Michelle, this is a great idea. Whiffs out there. If you have some really big, Trump lovers in your family, send them up that portrait for Christmas.
If that's not an olive
Michelle,
branch.
Now we're having fun. This is a good idea.
If that's not an olive branch.
I don't know what is.
Then I don't know what is anymore.
It's a portrait of our president. Hang it. Right next to Jesus.
That is art.
Right next to the flaming heart of Jesus.
Art.
Hang that photo. Bless. So let's dive a little bit more into this idea of caring less.
Sorry about that. I'm going to care less about those
just
sporadic
care
drills.
less. Michelle's got workers downstairs. It is what it is. We're
It's
doing our
temporary,
best,
guys.
people.
It's temporary.
So I found this amazing Vox article, and this
minus the ads. Minus the ads that ran the energy of my battery of my computer into no man's land.
It's so annoying. I hate ads.
Brutal.
But this one's called Vox, or this is Vox.com. This article is called "The Case for Caring Less" by Allie Volp. Don't sweat the small stuff is actually great advice, she writes. I have a staggering statistic for you right now that our whiff, I need you to turn up the volume, especially if you've got kids, because listen to this. Busyness. Okay, let's start here actually. According to Pew Research Center surveys, 60% of adults said they were sometimes too busy to enjoy life.
That's a bummer.
That's a buttfuck. 60%
Mm-hmm.
of individuals out there are too busy with life, with their life, that they can't even enjoy it. Okay, that's really sad. It's sad,
no
right?
Bueno.
It's no bueno. Now, not unsurprisingly, rather, busyness intensifies once you have kids. Ready, you guys? 74% of parents with children under the age of 18 reported being too busy to enjoy life.
I'm just thinking about that time in my life when my kids were like, because there was a moment where I think I might have been in that 74% where instead of having all of this vast space in my calendar for the things like leisure, the leisurely way of living, I had to work around all of the games and all of the things and all of the whatever. And that I was in it, and that fucking sucked, to be honest.
It sounds like it sucks. Sometimes I'm like, oh my God, life was amazing when I had no responsibilities, like having a kid. I think about this stuff. Sometimes I'm really working hard on recognizing that my life is not how it used to be, right? But the thing is, and what you're sharing and what I'm going to hopefully map out for my future is that, if you've got a kid or kids, life is busy, but it is up to that individual to figure out, how do I make decisions so that I actually get to enjoy my life?
And that's what I was going to say. You get to choose, and you can choose a different flavor of living. It doesn't have to be like that.
Totally.
And there's a shift in the conscience. You can
people
feel the general people in society are leaning into and fighting against this idea.
Yes. And this idea that you're talking about is that of hustle culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
Women having these expectations on themselves and from others to balance all of the things: family life, home life, vacation life, kid life, whatever life. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's a never ending to-do list. So I dove into this article and I did some extra research on what we can do and why, if you implement some of these things, you will actually fall out of that percentage and start being on the other side of the fence where you're actually enjoying your life, kids or no kids.
Mm-hmm.
Because people without kids sometimes have their job is their life.
Mm-hmm.
And I would beg to wonder if this job that is taking up and consuming all of their breath, are you enjoying life, or are you just working through it? As you can imagine, this article touches on having the perfect life, perfectionism, what all the outsiders see. The problem is now too, is everyone can see on the inside, which is fucking stupid. Everyone sees what cookies you're making for your kids, the rainbow bullshit, what clothes you're wearing. You're perfect. It's actually annoying. So you have this extra sense of guilt if you're not doing it as cool as the next person. And also keeping up with the Joneses, with everyone else, with yourself. So this author dives into the idea that what if, instead of trying to do it all for everyone and everything, if we aim for good enough right? Like it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't like these themed out birthday parties. And I'm not judging. I'm just saying if you're at home stressing out about the 10 tents that you're going to erect in your kids in your house for the slumber party to have a perfect camp out, let me tell you something.
The
A
basement's good
sleeping
enough.
bag and a
Basement's good
pillow
enough.
and a good movie does
Good enough.
wonders,
Good enough.
right?
Totally.
Like it looks cool, right? Especially when you get that Instagram photo clocked in. Oh, look at little Susie Q's birthday tented fucking
It's so
spent
true.
$1,500 on it. But did you stress during it?
Honestly, caring less, like once you start to embrace it and like start to care less about things, it's
freedom.
It's freeing.
It's
It
freedom.
is, it's absolutely the most freeing
Do you want to know
feeling
what
on
I've
the
thought
planet.
less about? You know what
What?
I've actually embraced, and I'm tired of ever, because I won't do it to my daughter, because we had a mom who struggled with her weight and we knew it. And that fucked up my image of self esteem and worth based on what my body looked like, or looks like rather. I have definitely, my body has changed so much since I had a baby. And you know what? I stood in the mirror the other day and I looked at myself in my underwear and my bra and I was like, you look so different, but you are so fucking strong. Like you are a strong bitch. Like your body, I might not be ripped looking, but I could hold a 3-minute plank. I can fucking carry my 2-year-old, almost 3-year-old around town because she wants to be held. I'm strong.
Yeah.
And just because I have a fupa doesn't mean that I'm not.
Same, agreed. Because I also have a fupa and I'm also strong as hell too.
And I eat really fucking healthy. I get in my workouts as much as here. We're going to do a good enough. I eat really well. Okay. And then I eat my dark chocolate and I have a drink here and there. I eat well. And then sometimes I don't. I have those days where I'm like, whatever. I work out when I can and I work out hard. I teach my yoga. I go on walks. I am good enough.
You're good enough. And also, doggone it, people like you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, beyond that, I mean, you're killing it.
I want you and I want our whiff to think about that. If you're fucking beating yourself up about anything at all, like consider how amazing you are and stop figuring out what your shortcomings are and sitting on those.
It is amazing. And I've talked about this before. I just beat myself down to the ground. Wouldn't say the things to my best friend that I say to myself sometimes. And that stops. That stops now.
I bought a pair of high-waisted pants that really emphasized my fupa. And I'll be honest with you. If I don't wear those, what the fuck else am I going to wear? These are my jeans. I feel great. I look great.
Totally,
you know,
Lauren.
like that's how and I could have this other dialogue, which is like, oh, I gotta wear these tight pants or these jeans are high-waisted. My belly looks fat. I don't look the same. I probably have some back fat. No, wait, I know I do because I saw enough. I don't give a fuck. I'm over it.
Yeah.
You know?
Lauren, that's how I feel with like my fucking hair that day that I was texting you and I was like, I'm going natural. Like fucking top to bottom. Like I don't give a shit about the manicures anymore. Like, do I not want to have my nails look like I gnawed on them for half an hour before I got on a flight that I was afraid to fly? No. And I'll take care of that and I'll tend to that when I need to. But like, I'm like, I am so sick and tired of doing these things that for whatever reason I thought that I was supposed to in order to be a certain way. I'm done. I'm good enough. I'm
good enough. Well, my vanity, there's a hard stop with my nails. We know that these will always be done.
I know. Okay? But eventually the nail underneath that's actually yours is going to be about as thin as it's going to just go straight to the nail bed. And then you're going to have no choice. You're going to have
we'll see what happens.
Fingertips. So.
But you know what? I think that's the trick of what are you going to kind of indulge in? And especially as women, because we have the fucking pressure of looking good. Don't you dare fucking age. Because if you age, then you're not pretty anymore. You're not sexy. You're unwanted.
Not smart. You're not worth it. You're not worth it. Oh, yeah,
and I think we're here to tell everyone listening that obviously do whatever the hell you want with your looks, your body, but just be nice to yourself. Whatever you're doing, just be
because
kind.
What you're doing, good enough.
Yes.
Okay? And fuck everybody else. That's where I'm going with this. Yeah, I am.
So let's talk about some ways to really implement this idea of caring less. One of them is
I'm fired up.
Yeah, I love it though. Okay, Michelle's fired up. She's feeling this. We're going to share with you ways that you can really do things in your life that can chip off the old block of caring too much so you're caring a little less. One of them is to manage your personal expectations. What are your expectations of yourself? That's like the first question.
Yeah.
Much of our desire to take on extra tasks and responsibilities comes from a sense of obligation to others. Experts agree, but even that can be self-directed.
Yes.
Here's another stat. 75% of the time, the guilt is coming from inside the house.
Mm-hmm.
You're making it up in your own
Yep.
head. Because here's the deal. Nobody's expectations are as high as your own expectations
100%.
for yourself and for others. A long time ago, my good friend Nicole, who you guys will hear in the coming months, are going to hear a great conversation with our friend Nicole, taught me something about friendships and relationships. Unless like you are, unless you're like clocked in and it's a different kind of relationship. But when you're on the fence about having expectations for someone, have none. Have no expectations, because then you can't get disappointed by people. So care a little less. Now, when we're talking about making decisions to care a little less, or to turn down a favor that someone has asked of you, or to say no to go to a social event that you don't want to go to, much of the time you saying no, here's what I've learned. That when you start setting boundaries and doing things that favor you and that are for your own good, it might piss other people off or, kind of irk them a little bit. That's on them to figure out. Let them be the ones to deal with the discomfort of you setting boundaries. Because it's honestly none of your business. And if they want to talk about like, hey, that really hurt my feelings that you didn't come to
my zany show or whatever.
Yes. It's like, okay, well, what hurt your feelings? Well, I thought you'd be there for me, blah, blah, blah. Well, I had 50 fucking things to do and it was at this wrong time and blah, blah. It's like, I think we also have to give people some respect for making decisions for themselves. We're grown as people. The next thing, so once you've started setting boundaries, your priorities and what's best for you, mind, body, whatnot. The next is to then find your priorities. Caring less doesn't mean negligence. To care less about inconsequential matters, you need to zero in on what is worth caring for. Consider taking stock of to-do list items and obligations and asking if these responsibilities make your day feel more spacious or more confined. Does it nourish your sense of creativity? Is this the best use of your time or talent? Does it make you feel exhausted? Do you want to spend your time and energy on this for real? These are all different questions you can ask yourself to be like, okay, this is a yes. The other day, this is so stupid, but I applied something we learned from our friend Kathy Adams from Zen Parenting.
Yeah.
I'm looking for a travel water bottle. Okay.
Such a good tip.
And I almost bought like a stupid $45 one because I want one that will fit. When you're packing with a kid now, it's different. You can't bring your big old Yeti. You need something maybe a little smaller. That's a great one. That's Stanley. So I actually almost bought that, but guess what?
Great. What'd you get?
It wasn't, none of these bottles that I was looking at was a full body yes, because I knew at home, somewhere in my fucking cabinet, I had a bottle that was small enough. And maybe it wasn't a name brand. Maybe it's not a Stanley, but it's a glass slim bottle. I found it. I'm like, that's it. That's the one I need. Free 99.
Right there.
Cared a little less about, I actually cared more about like, do I really need to spend $50 on a water? No, I don't. And there was no full body yes. Like that's the one. And I think that's a tool we can always implement on questioning things. Full body yes. If it's not a full body yes, it's
then
a no.
It is an easy, hard no. And it's as simple as that too.
Yep. Another question that this writer asks us to ask ourselves, why do I care? It's a really good question. Why do I care? Whatever's bothering you, whether it's something, with friends or out in the world or something at work or someone beeps at you or cuts you off, maybe this is a good time to practice this idea of asking yourself, why do I care? And then if you really can't come up with a good answer, maybe that's a sign to care less.
And this is also would be a good time to implement when we're just like, who cares? Why do I care? Who cares?
So these are just some ideas of setting your priorities. Like, what is it in your life that you want to put up there to make your life feel more pleasurable? If you're weighing things and things are giving you more stress, it's time to start deleting things and start adding things. Like we talked about in one of our past episodes about how art can help kind of shift an anxious mindset? What can you do more of to find more pleasure in your life?
When I was going through the caregiving stage with mom and working full time and the kids were young, and I was coaching soccer and I was in a full burnout mode and I was going to therapy regularly. And my therapist made me sort of take an inventory and I had to kind of weigh the things that I was doing. And though it wasn't posed this way with her when we were talking about it, essentially I was like sloughing off, trimming the fat of the things that I didn't really, they weren't filling my bucket. They were making me feel exhausted. They were taking up time. They were adding stress. One for me, I loved watching my kids play sports. I loved teaching them when they were little in the front yard. Coaching was a stress for me. And it was a very obvious thing to remove from my plate.
Totally.
And then when I stopped that, it was immediate, the space that I felt from like just removing that from my set of responsibilities. And that's what I think is the cool thing about this caring less is you don't have to wait for the cumulative efforts to take hold. It's immediate. The space is immediate.
Now, what it sounds like you did, that is this next one, this next piece of advice is to zoom out a little bit, to kind of zoom out and look at your life from outside. What was too much for you? Yours was the soccer practice. Zooming out can also be like, what is pissing you off because someone didn't at the house clean the dishes like you were supposed to have them cleaned before school, or your partner couldn't make it to this certain thing. Like, why are you're getting pissed off about things that in the grand scheme of things, is it important to get pissed off about? And one of the things is that they recommend is that sometimes not reacting at all is the best thing to do. This obviously gives you time to think about, like, why are you so burning fucking mad because the dishes aren't done? We'll do them later. And that's where sometimes I have to care less about things like that. I like a clean kitchen. For me, it's hard for me to be at my desk if I know my kitchen is a disaster downstairs or if my bed's not made. The bed's a non-negotiable, has to be made. But I'm starting to learn, like, some kitchen sinks, some dishes in the sink can wait till tonight after dinner because there's going to be more anyways. Things like that. And
that's a freeing thing. I wasn't always that way either. I had to do it. And then one day I was like, wait, no, I don't.
No, you
actually
don't.
Like, I'm actually tired and I don't feel like doing it right now.
Exactly. One of the recommendations as well, or thoughts, is that in order to get to a place where you're able to zoom out and look at the bigger picture and step away from the flight or fight and this kind of anxious rotation of feelings and emotions and reactions, is that you need to prioritize rest and centering yourself. So basically you're saying you actually, for you to be able to care less about shit in your life, you have to actually take better care of yourself. You've got to care more about you, which I think is a really brilliant way to look at it from the outside too. Like, take good care of you, care less about shit that doesn't matter. And of course, for everyone, it looks different. Like, for me, getting outside on a sunny day, like, that's my rest or my
like
centering.
Your medicine.
That's my medicine.
That's your lifestyle. Yeah.
Sometimes it's laying down for 20 minutes and reading, whether it's the newspaper I'm catching up on from Sunday and it's almost Thursday and I want to get through it before the next newspaper arrives at my doorstep, or it's reading my book. It's just imperative to take moments throughout the day. Sips is what we like to call it. Sips. So that article was fantastic. I'm going to share it in the show notes. And as we know, there's other pros to caring less. And I wanted to mention a couple because I think they're really important. And the one to kind of double down on when I was talking about, like, me looking in the mirror naked and just like feeding myself positive words, is that caring less boosts your confidence, which sounds funny, but it makes you feel, for me personally, I have found more comfortable in the skin I'm in, what I look like, who I am. And I feel like I don't, a size, a belly, that's all fucking bullshit. It's what's on the inside. What kind of conversations am I having with people? Do I have meaningful relationships? I guess I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm not going to have a 26-year-old body ever again. Like, who am I kidding?
I do often wonder if, like, the 40s, like, we're having this like epiphany, getting to this point, but is like the 40s the decade of caring less? Is that how long you have to live on this earth to finally get to a point where you're like, and
Maybe.
don't care about certain things anymore. But I don't know. There might be some 40, 50, 60s that some things that are still caring too much.
Well, I'm hoping that the younger generations learn this before 40 because it's a big old waste of time.
Totally.
It really is. Some other benefits from caring less. This is a great one. You become more fun because once you stop people pleasing, overthinking everything, then you're just kind of
actually
more
present.
You're more free spirited. You're having fun. People want to be around you. You're lighter in the load, if that makes sense. I don't even know what that means. But to me, that sounds like you're less intense and lighter to have around. Also, you have, once you start setting your boundaries, people understand you a little bit better. People also, you will begin to inspire other people to do the same thing as you. Say no to your kid being on 4 different teams.
Yeah,
It's okay if they're only on 2 or 1, because guess what? Maybe as a family, you guys can go take a vacation that has nothing to do with a sport, and you guys can go and enjoy some of your life together.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
There's just so many different ways that caring less about big things and little things and things that make no difference at all can impact your life in a positive and powerful way.
Brian and I were just talking about it. We're not going on spring break this year. And my big joke is, we're spring broke. We renovated our house, whatever. But we were just chatting. He's like, you know what? It kind of feels good not to be on the hook for a big vacation after all of this. Like, we were like, we're not doing that. And it just feels like we feel like free and like we made a good decision. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to be tourists in our own city while everybody else is out and about.
A, I love that. And B, again, from the beginning of our conversation, what were we talking about? Social media. Back in the day when we all went on spring break, no one gave a flying fuck where you went, what you did, who you saw. I remember getting some seashells. You got back, you went to school, and the rest is history.
I wore a Speedo up to my neck as an 18-year-old to Mexico. But besides that,
you know what I'm saying? And now and that's just another thing. So this just injects a little bit more. You have to actively care less about what other people are doing on their spring break so you can enjoy yours the most. Right?
It's so true.
I'm obsessed with this idea because I have felt in different aspects of my life the power of caring less. And it has improved relationships, self-esteem, confidence, and kind of like what we also talked about, like the pressure we put on ourselves. You and I work really hard, as does our listener, whether you're working at home, at the office, you're a stay-at-home mom, or you quit your job, whatever it is, being alive in this modern society is hard fucking work. It's epic.
It's beyond.
And each of us are doing our best, and maybe that's just the what do I want to call this? That's the magic potion, is just being good enough. And we don't have to go and beat our asses to be this perfect specimen of a human being. Care a little less, you guys. Oh, feels so good.
I feel like I was just on like that 93 point Delilah. Like that's Delilah. What was it? I was like, I actually forgot that I was a co-host, and I was just like listening to you talk.
Were you just driving down the street just now?
I was just like drove off the road in like wow. I mean, but it's so true. It's so true. Embrace the care less, make space for more of what you actually want to do and care about.
Listen, if they're throwing stats at us on the higher end that most people alive are not having the opportunity to enjoy their life. Listen, we're human beings. We're supposed to be and experiencing. We're not supposed to be human doings, or else that's what they would have called us, a human doing. Okay.
Right.
So be, experience. I can't wait to hear from our whiffs. Write in and let us know, what the fuck are you going to care less about? I want to know. I want to know. So write in, contact@thesisterprojectblog.com, and tell us specifically what bullshit you're crossing off your I'm caring too much about list. Okay?
Can't wait to read. Yeah.
Love it. Let's move on. We've got our reading, watching, and listening to.
Well, since I saw you yesterday, a lot is gone.
This is true. But I did find some good quickies that we can talk about for a moment. As I was scrolling, looking for topics, this is a good one just to think about. Yeah. You guys, bibliotherapy. Why
What?
reading is good for your mental health. This is from CNN. It's called A New Form of Therapy. And it literally is all about how reading can change, again, what are we talking about here? Your mindset. It can shift the way you look at life, your own experiences about what you're going through. You know, to go up there with those people that aren't experiencing and enjoying their life, here's another fucked up statistic.
Oh yeah,
We
this
are
is
at
a
an
real bummer.
all-time low of how many books people are reading just on a regular basis. And because we're all flipping through our phones or too busy to read, right? So the average American reads 12.6 books during the year. This was from last year, the lowest number since 1990.
We need to get
Y'all,
that number up.
let's do it. Let's get it up.
We
Maybe
need
we
to
should
get
start a
that
book club here at the
number
Sister
up.
Project.
We've been talking about it. We should just do it.
Yeah. So a couple of my biggest takeaways from this article, Michelle, was, and I thought this was hilarious because I set a book goal. It's don't set book goals.
You know what? A loose book goal is not detrimental to your reading.
No,
I'm sorry.
I'm
I
keeping my
like the
goal.
book a month.
The reason why they were saying, like, maybe don't set that goal is just to enjoy your reading. Try not to make it a thing to do or to add it to your to-do list. Or they're basically saying, don't stress about reading.
Yeah. And that's fair.
And fair. Okay. Another takeaway was that reading, as we know, is one of the best ways to slow down and immerse yourself in storytelling of a different land, time period, personal story, from whether it's a memoir or a character.
That's my favorite part. I mean, I love when I sit back and relax and think about the adventures I was just on in my bed, in my whatever book I'm reading. I'm like, that's kind of awesome.
Well, the author of this article was talking about how she's super busy. Like the rest of us, we're also busy, but at night she takes a trip to India and she is, walking through the markets and seeing the temples. And it's just that, to me, also is the beauty of reading books.
What was the book she was referring to? Covenant of the Water? Was that the name of it? It was a book that I've always wanted to read. And after her kind of description of it, I was like, and I'm going to read it now.
Abraham Verghese, The Covenant of Water.
Yeah. I've always seen that one floating around.
And then one of the last things that I found, and a book that I read last year, This Is How It Always Is, was one of the most impactful and powerful reads I've had in regards to putting myself in another person's shoes. And this is about like how books can build empathy, shift mindsets and perspective, and also see what is someone else's life like.
For me, last year's book was Jodi Picoult's Mad Honey. That was that book.
Well, both of them deal with transgender individuals.
Yes.
Mine was about two parents with a house full of kids, and their youngest little boy was very curious about and wanting to know, when does he finally turn into the girl? And just the way they navigated it with such courage, and at the same time not having a fucking clue what to do, scared, worried about their baby, but also wanted them to not feel like a weirdo. It was a beautiful book. I cannot recommend this book. This should be, honestly, at this point, especially this day and age, it should just be required reading.
Oh, well, good luck with that in this current administration.
I know. Like, again, what are we watching, Michelle? We've got to talk about something. I know we haven't watched a lot since we last spoke, but White Lotus season 3, episode 5 took a turn, a very unexpected turn. And I want please no spoiler alert, Michelle, the brother jerks off the other brother.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it happened. It's disgusting. And I'm so
Do you feel uncomfortable talking about it?
Michelle, I was hiding underneath the covers.
What?
Because the one brother, Schwarzenegger's always pushing the little brother to, go bang some babes, bang babes. Like you're be a tough guy. You got to go, bang the ladies. And then they get involved in a threesome. And as his brother's banging a babe, he's jerking off his brother.
Stop it right now. Well, I don't want to watch that.
Michelle,
I'm not going to.
Out of this. You guys who watched it, I write in, I might need a little therapy.
I don't feel good.
I'm just saying that it finally, the wheels, Jesus isn't even taking the wheel. No, he gave up. He was like, blasphemy to all. I'm over it. So I don't think you'll be watching White Lotus.
You know what? This is so funny because I started to watch it and then I feel like my phone, like it reads my mind because things I'm thinking that I haven't even said appear in my different feeds. And I feel like now my phone has heard like, oh, I didn't really like White Lotus. I've said it out loud. And what I'm seeing is, there's so much imagery and there's so many themes that are just the people that don't like it just don't get it. And I'm like, you know what?
Just get to
Maybe I'm
episode
in that
5.
camp.
Just get to
Okay.
episode 5.
Okay.
Brothers
You know what?
jerking off brothers.
Okay. You know what? Now I might actually just
It's
because of what you
so
told me.
disturbing. Plus they're on drugs. The other brother like didn't even realize it was happening. It's not right.
No,
I
my
felt the
stomach
kind of
hurts.
way afterwards. Not good. Michelle, let's talk about what we're listening.
Okay.
I got the opportunity yesterday to do a quick walk, got my fresh air, and I got outside to listen to a quick 10-minute TED talk on this. Really was interesting to me because we've heard about the loneliness epidemic.
Yeah.
And I went and pressed play on why social health is key to happiness and longevity. And as a person who puts forth a very strong effort in nurturing my relationships, I sometimes am the one responsible for carrying on stronger communication with certain people. That's just how it is. And I'm not bitching about it. I freaking love it. I love being the glue that keeps people together. And then there's people in my life who, again, I don't really talk to anymore. It's probably because we've just kind of grown apart.
Yeah.
And so, you just kind of like ebb and flow between like, how is my social, I'm just kind of like was taking stock of my social health. So I listened to this 10-minute quickie. This woman, she's a social scientist. Her name is Casely Killam. She breaks down why staying socially connected is imperative to good health. Listen, we all know we've got physical health, emotional health, mental health. What else? Spiritual health, all the healths. Social health is what is going to keep people feel connected, sense of purpose, community, all of the things that if you even take one glance at a blue zone, they talk about how important community and social engagement and being social with one another are. And they also talk about we've seen in the last 5 years, this loneliness epidemic where people that are left alone deteriorate faster and quicker for a number of reasons.
Yeah. I mean, look at what happened to like the elder generation that were left isolated after the COVID epidemic. They were so many people that were thriving before that deteriorated, and they attributed a lot to the loneliness of not being able to be with people and stuff.
So with that being said, the scientist offers a really great strategy that's applicable to anybody. And it's called the 5-3-1 strategy. So let's break it down. Basically, what she's saying is that spending time with 5 different people every week can do a social health good. She's basically saying, she said on the podcast yesterday, is that, like how they say, like, don't just keep eating the same fruits and vegetables, mix them up. Mix up the fruits and vegetables every week. When you go grocery shopping, do different ones. Kind of the same thing here. She's saying, and what she's saying in regards to social connection, for the 5 people per week, you might connect on a stronger level with the barista. You might have a lengthier conversation with a librarian, but then the other 3 people might be your check-in with your dad every week. And then call that one friend you haven't spoken to in a while. And then maybe you'll make a little quick coffee date with a colleague of yours, whatever, so it's 5 people to connect with every week. It could be, again, spectrum of just like a quick hi, eye contact and some conversation to something a little deeper. And then the next one, the 3, is nurture 3 close relationships every week. And this is where you step it up a little bit. These are the people this is your love list, she calls. Who are the people on your love list that you want to keep in contact with on a regular basis, know what's going on every week with them, so you're not doing like this big crazy catch up, after a month of not speaking to them.
I love this.
So this is the 3. These are your tightest bonds, family and dear friends. And then the last one is the 1. Aim for 1 hour of social interaction and connection a day. And this does not have to be a full hour of being with someone. It could be 10 minutes chatting with someone on the phone. Another one might be taking time to write a card to somebody. It's just 1 hour of somehow staying connected with the people in your life. So 5, 3, 1.
I love it. I have to share one of my, I guess it would be a 5, accidental 5 happened yesterday when I was walking around town pinning up our Zanies ads. I stopped into the design studio, which was our dear Carol King's shop that now our friend Trisha Zeman works at. And I walked in there and it was Trisha and the store owner, Michelle. And we had probably an hour-long conversation about basically everything under the sun. It was like, besides me feeling like the flu was taking over my body, I would have pulled up one of her like country chairs and sat amongst the topiaries to continue on forever. And it was so lovely that even today, like I talked to Trish and we pointed it out. We were like, that was like unexpected.
Yeah. Filled up
and
your battery.
Delightful.
Isn't that lovely?
Yeah.
And that's the magic behind this connection with people, whether it's a stranger or someone you haven't spoken to in a long time. It gives us as humans this heightened level of feeling seen, heard, you shared something, just the connection in and of itself. I love the random drive by with strangers. Like when someone saw a book I was reading at the coffee shop the other day and she stopped me on her way out and she's like, that's one of the best books I've ever read. Like that is a legit self-help book. And I was like, yes, that is what just that pumps me up for the day. I get a lot of that during yoga classes. Totally, it's just a magical thing. It's a really, and again, these are just little ways to elevate enjoyment in life. These are just here's the thing. This whole podcast, like accidentally was all about, well, here are some ways you can elevate enjoyment in your life. These small social connections, taking time out to read a book here and there throughout your days or week. And then, of course, caring less. And if you can start doing more of all of these things, you're going to find that you're not in that camp of people with or without kids that aren't enjoying life to the fullest. It's about the decisions you make and how you fucking look out at life.
And how you prioritize yourself in the list of importance.
Amen. All right, Michelle, now that we have pumped up our whiff, I want to know what your simple joy of the last 24 hours or week is, something that really sparked you.
I think I'm going to have to go with, I feel like I'm talking to like a game show host. I think I'm going to have to go with the broth that my husband made for me. He sauteed like 3 cloves of garlic and some olive oil and chili flake and threw in some of our favorite Kettle and Fire, the coconut curry lime broth. And he's been bringing it to me while I, lie in bed.
Try to live.
And that has made this miserable like flu thing quite pleasurable. Simple joy.
Ryan's getting a lot of call outs lately. Gave him a shout out on the last podcast.
Too bad nothing's going to happen to him until I get better. I'll tell you that much.
When you feel better, he's going to thank his lucky stars for making that broth for you. You know what? Shout out to my husband because I'm feeling a little under the weather too. And my simple pleasure of the day, and recently, you guys know I'm a big oat cortado fan, but right now I'm loving the oat milk flat white and make it a triple. Yeah, you heard me.
Make it a triple.
Make it a motherfucking triple. Okay. Simple joy. It's so good. It's like cocaine, but in coffee form. And when your toddler's sick home from school because she had like a cough this morning, she's fine. She should be at school. I need the cocaine, caffeine.
Yep. Make it a triple.
Bless. All right. Whiff, thank you so much for tuning in. I am so excited for you to go out into the world and care a lot less about shit that does not matter. Start figuring it out. Care less, enjoy more. And with all things, ladies and gentlemen,
stay cozy.
Thank you for joining us for today's cozy conversation. For more of The Sister Project, check us out on Instagram at The Sister Proj and our website, www.thesisterprojectblog.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and maybe even drop us a review. Until next time, stay cozy.